Alrighty, we are live. What is up, everybody? Friday night, 11 minutes late. Not so bad for us. Usually, it's we're pushing a little more than that. So, hope everybody is good. It's a little fall is official. It's officially peak leaf at Mont Tremblant. So, if any leaf peepers trying to get out there, you got to get out soon. Hopefully, we get down there. So, folks, while I'm waiting for anyone to tune in, this evening is something that's super interesting to me, something I don't know a lot about, so I have a metric shit ton of questions to ask. What would you call it? Not a division, like a sort of side product in the alcohol industry, or to the craft beer industry, really, because it's more associated with craft breweries, is hard seltzer. And it's been big in the States for, I would imagine, a few years now. And I just found out that we have some homegrown stuff here in Canada, which really shouldn't be that surprising when you think about it. So I'm really excited to learn a lot more about this stuff. It's fascinating to me. So on that note, I think we might just get it going. It's episode 25. All right. What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 25 of Beer Not the Shit, the podcast, quarantine edition adjunct series. This evening, we're doing something a little different. So, as you guys know, we are a craft beer podcast, but sometimes it is fun to talk about other things. We have had a cider maker on from Vermont before, a couple years back. We've had a winery on from Niagara, also in like 2017. And this evening, we're dabbling in a whole new world that we know jack shit about. I'm very excited to learn about it. So this evening, we have Justin McKellar from Equals Brewing in London, Ontario, and also the home of Bangarang Hard Seltzer. Justin, how you doing, my man?
Not bad. Great. How's it going?
Fantastic, man. Thank you for coming by and hanging out. Appreciate you, dude.
Yeah.
I actually forgot to ask you.
It really is. It's been weird, sitting in the basement, talking over Skype, but
right.
It's 8 months of this so far, and
only got to get
used
to
buddy.
it.
We'll get through it.
We will. We're just going to keep pushing.
I haven't been outside in 8 months
at all. You're looking pretty good for it. You're shaving at least, right? Keep it clean.
No, I shaved this morning.
Already one of those. I like that. I respect it.
Yeah.
What was your title? I actually forgot to ask you before. What was your title at? Are you the co-founder? Founder?
Yeah, so, started out, so if I start from the beginning, so Justin McKellar, General Manager, Brewmaster for Equals Brewing Company. So, contract partner brewing company, we launched in 2018.
Okay.
Grew pretty quick, and, come the summer, we launched Bangarang.
Amazing.
And,
so it's brand new, eh?
We launched a hard seltzer. It was, it's a long journey to get there, and really, as a contract brewery, we, it was really the week before the kids' spring break, right? Okay. So we're sitting there, NBA shuts down, and it was immediately, very clear that we had to do something for COVID, and it's like, it's coming. And as a contract brewer, as soon as COVID hit, everything became uncertain. Right. So all of the people who needed our help making their production, they just said, "Whoa, let's." I can't book any brews because bars aren't open. We don't know if retail's going to close. Is LCBO going to close? So we were looking at an empty summer potentially, and we had developed a neutral malt-based recipe and these great seltzers.
So you were working on that before?
With the intent to help other people make it, right? So we invested in technology to do that. We also, invested in technology to make non-alcoholic beer. And then COVID hit, and we said, let's do it, right? So we, built out a sales team to go out and get this product out into the market, and things have been going really well. And the most amazing thing about the whole development process was, we're really happy with the taste, and people are liking it. So we think we can continue to get better on the taste because it's so early on in our development process. But the flavors that we put out into the market has been going over really well. And, hats off to the brewer, my main head brewer, Pratt Nanny Wadekar, lead brewer. He's coming out of Niagara. He's got a great palate, right? Like I've got an okay palate, but he's got a great palate. He's really into food, really into taste, loves different taste of beer. He's got the certified beer judge. So he's a really good taster,
right,
and just a good, guy to tweak around with flavors. So said, hey, we got to go develop some flavors for this hard seltzer. So he really, helped get us to that final recipe, and then we launched them, and things have been going really well. And then retailed them back up, and the brewery filled back up as well. So. Right. It was a crazy summer, so a little bit about the quick launch of Bangarang, but there's lots more to kind of dive into. And
that's like a nice high level for now.
So you don't know much about seltzer? Sorry.
I know little to nothing about these glorious things for people, just to see what we're looking at here. Look at that! Ooh, that's glorious. So that's the mango.
That looks like that might be the heart print can too.
No, this is a it's got a wrap. One? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we did the first run with the guys over at Heart.
Nice.
Really good cans. A little bit more expensive than the sleeves, but nice.
Was this the second run or the first run?
Might be the third. What's the date on it?
9th of July. Could go either way.
Even the third run.
Oh, okay. So it's a newer. So you moved from the heart print to the wraps.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to? Maybe we'll bust this open so we can go through the flavors, because this would be my first time. I was telling you before off air that I've sipped from my friends in Vermont, but I've never consumed a full one of these. So I can see like everyone's drinking. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay. It's like actual clear sparkling water. I really get the attraction. At first, I was like, why do people want this? I guess because I'm such a beer nerd, I was just like, I didn't really get it. But I realized over the pandemic that I'm fat now. And I love that this is low cal. Like, I have cookies that have more calories in this damn thing. 140 calories, no sugar. Sorry, 1 gram of sugar. Like, everything is mad low on this. It's glorious. So, it smells
like carbonated water, right?
Yeah. I guess it smells like, this is the mango in case I missed it.
Yep.
Definitely smells like mango. Is it real mango or anything, or is it like a natural flavor type of thing?
So it's natural flavor.
If you put mango in it, it'll probably ramp up the calories, right?
And color and cloudiness, it would just really change the drink totally.
Nice. So I love, we got a soda stream. I rock that every day. This is fantastic. Cheers, well. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers. Little slice of mango or like a cube of mango in the glass.
Ooh, that's a cool idea. Mm-hmm. This is fantastic. I see why.
Actually, it's good. You have the frozen mango that you go into the. You might put into smoothies. Mango juice. You throw a couple of those in.
Yo, and then at the end of it, it's kind of like biting the tequila one. We're not bad, dude. That's great. That's really smart.
I just created that cocktail, so that's good.
It's copyright now. Dude, this is great. This is really good. So,
but you like it?
Yeah, no, I 100% like it. This is going on Untapped.
What do you think on the taste?
So on the taste, it's got like the sharp carbonation, kind of like a San Pellegrino water. That I like that, rather than the big fatter bubbles that are in like the Nestle, the cheaper stuff. So it tastes refined and expensive, for lack of a better word. Like it's better done. The flavor, natural flavor, or the artificial flavoring can always go either way. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's hot garbage. This complements the beverage. It's bright and fruity. There's no lingering stickiness, being that there's hardly any sugar in here. Super dry on the palate, so it's refreshing, makes you want to continue to drink more. It tastes kind of like it smells as well. Like it's kind of almost tastes like, it smells like the flesh of the mango or something. There's something fleshy about it.
Some of the mango flavorings, you definitely get like more of the rind, right? Like it's just
the rind.
Versus that freshness, and I agree totally with that.
But it's still quite bright, which is probably going to be difficult to achieve on on such a keeping it low ABV and also working with flavors. So like it's good, man. Like I can understand why these are so popular, and I can see why you could sit on these all day, because it's not even like you could say with session IPAs, it's still there's sugar in them, it's still sweeter, and like, could you really sit there and drink 6 of those all day? Maybe some people could. I don't drink like that. I like to change it up, but I can see you have, and this is cool because you got the mixer pack, which has got 12 cans of the 3 different flavors, which is dope. So you can switch them up and back and forth, and you could easily drink these all day. I like it.
That's good. Yeah, no, that was a pretty great explanation. You've been doing this for a while, I think. Eh?
It's been since 2011. So I've I'm not like you're a brewer. I don't know anything in the true sense of the word, but figured it out over time, and speaking to intelligent people like you, I get to sit down with smart people who know so much more than me and ask questions. So try to sponge it up, But this is fantastic. So now we're drinking this. Let's pull it back a little bit, and then we'll come back to the present. So tell us how you personally got into beer, and then sort of your beer journey, where you've sort of worked throughout the years. We touched on that off air, and then we'll get into how Equals started and come back to the Seltzers.
Cool. Yeah, so, I grew up in a small town in Ontario, got into undergrad university. I did biochemistry, then went off. I had a couple co-op terms, 2 co-op terms at Molson where I worked in a lab, and I was just in this massive brewery, and I love beer, and I was like, how can this be my job? See Homer Simpson touring the Duff Factory and like Wayne's World and all the I want to work in a brewery. I love beer. And then for me, coming from a small town in Ontario, beer was Molson Canadian, because all my friends drank blue, and if I drank Canadian, then my beer would be there when I went back in the following week.
I like that. I've done that with other things, but that's smart. That's always the move.
But then you start getting exposed to different types of beer. It was Guinness and Murphy's, because my mom was born in Ireland, and then slowly into the just different European beers, and you're like, oh, there's lots of different beers, and it's like, I want to be in the brewing industry. How do I do it? And I was told the Harriet Watt was the way to go, and so I did a master's of brewing at Harriet Watt, and actually with 7, I expected to go to Harriet Watt and go to school with a bunch of people from Scotland and Europe, and there was 7 dudes from Ontario.
Where was this? Where's the school?
So this school, it's Harriet Watt University in Edinburgh.
Oh, in Scotland. Okay.
In Scotland. So it is the International Centre for Brewing and Distilling, and it's a well-renowned brewing school. Now they're taking an insane number of students. When I went, I thought it was too many when there was 25, and now I hear there's like 100 in the course. So I don't know if the quality is continued to be as good. When we were there, it was okay. Like it could have been better. Could have been more hands-on stuff, but it was an amazing experience. So the guys I went to school with there that year, it was like, Rob Doyle, who's a Niagara College professor, McKinnon from McKinnon Brothers, Dan McKinnon, a few other guys who are all throughout the Ontario craft scene. John Lagasse, head brewer at he's down Silversmith Brewery in.
I had him on the podcast. Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. He's the Black Lager is an amazing beer.
Killer.
Yeah, and so we know that one well, and then who else we got? Alex Nichols, he was one of the founders of Allura Brewing, and then now he's over with Cowbell, I think, running the show over there, on the operations side. So it was an amazing group of guys that we got to be in Scotland with and continue to experience beer, right? Whether it's Tennant's Lager, or you're down in Witherspoon's pulling real ale pints for an entire session, or these sweet little pubs all around Edinburgh. Right. So over that time, you just get exposed to a ton of different types of beer and all the different flavors, and the real ale was just amazing. And then we continued on. Some of us worked at whiskey. Oh, sorry, I'm just pulling it up. Dang, it's gonna die here. Two of us worked at the Scotch Whiskey Society, pouring single malt drams with all this amazing love and taste for whiskey as well. And I'm drilling on, but all the guys from Ontario, all the beer in Scotland, ended up coming back. I got a job with Labatt.
Right.
And so I was a trainee with Labatt and kind of moved across the country. And it was an amazing experience. The boys, they ripped me pretty hard. My nickname was Juice because I told them I just don't care what you call me, just don't call me Juice. They call me Juice for the year. and then when I got on with Labatt, it was corporate Juice for the last 4 months because I got a job and then I finished the year. And so that was the joke, and I had a great career with Labatt and learned a ton about people, learned a ton about myself, got to see the country and meet awesome people in different parts of the country. We're in Creston, BC for a year at the Columbia Brewery there, making kokanee and living in a small town interior BC, which was an amazing experience. St. John's, Newfoundland, was there for 9 months, working in the brewing department there, and relatively small brewery, 125, I don't know if I can say how much volume, but under 1 million.
Right.
But it's out on the rock, and it's just a cool place. And then Edmonton for 4 years, and then back to London. Kind of moved around in different roles in the brewing department, getting to know the processes really well and the people. And then all along the way, the beer is present. The beer is there, and
right.
For that early time at Labatt, the beer was falling in love with 50 again, and seeing how much we can tweak the 50 recipe. Can we up the hops a little bit? And, oh, hey, we did an all malt 50 brew, and there's a real affinity for that, for Labatt 50, for anyone who's worked at Labatt, and I think a lot of other people as well appreciate that beer, that cream ale. It's award-winning for a reason, because it's just classic. If you get the ester, if you get the fresh 50 with the nice ester, it's a great drinking beer.
When we did the old way on the podcast, we had a lightning round, and we had a question that was, what's your guilty pleasure beer? And the number one across the board was always Labatt 50. By far.
So it was amazing. And then, the Budweiser, right? Right when it started, it was there was the merger, and that merger really, I think, changed Labatt for the better, because it changed me for the better too, from a brewing standpoint, because the amount of focus on quality that the Budweiser tradition has is it's military. It is, right. It's fantastic, right? And the affinity for tradition and not changing things, and it's very, very impressive pedigree in terms of quality and processes. Yes, the big scale. Yes, there's a lot of business practices and things that may not make you love the big company, but the quality and focus was something that what I really took from that. And then getting exposed to different Goose Island, right? And when that acquisition happened, it was fantastic. It's nice to have an IPA that isn't Alexander Keith's.
Actually, a real IPA.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, it's a funny one. The IPA.
It's a whole other story. I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that's a whole other story. Well, it was a different podcast. But anyways, I still loved. Got in a love of beer. Was at Labatt's for a long time, and then had the opportunity to come over and start this contract brewing operation. So I got connect with this one of the partners, and they kind of explained what they were looking to do. They're like, we're entrepreneurs. We have some friends in the industry, and they're telling us all these problems, and we think that we can really, help, right? It sounds like if we, put some people in place that know what they're doing, they can actually solve some problems for the industry, and it might be a business opportunity for us that we want to look at. And I'm like, well, okay, that sounds pretty awesome, because I love brewing and I love building teams, and I think that there's a huge opportunity there. And so we went and we started building Equals. And that was in the beginning of 2018. So it was reach out, work with a team of engineers and the business partners and start finding good people that we want to build this company with. And really from the beginning, it was quality and consistency, quality and consistency, quality and consistency. This is what our the people need. This is what is going to set us apart. And we quickly, the one thing that I was adamant of adding was customer service, right? So like, it's not transactional. It's not pick your beer up at the door. This is our beer too, and we're doing it for you, but we want to treat it like it's our beer and our product and our seltzer, our cider, non-alcoholic beer. So over the course of the last 2 years, we've built out our facilities. We have a 35 hectoliter brew house. We have a ton of fermenting capacity. We've got a centrifuge, filtration, sterile filtration, keg line. We've got a Crohn's can line. So we just do 355 ml and 473 ml cans. Really a place where people can come and we can help them with making beer. And that's how we started. And now we make other things as well, like ciders and non-alcoholic beers and seltzers.
Right.
So that's kind of a little bit of the arc of a lot of detail, but at the beginning, but kind of got a little sparse at the end because I feel like I've been talking for way too long.
That's okay. That's okay.
So what do you like? What? Yeah. So have you ever tried White Claw?
Not in more than maybe a sip, and I don't even remember. Like, I feel like my good friend Rob in Vermont, so where Montreal's situated, is 45 minutes from the border. Before all this stuff, we were going pretty regularly. So I go see him, and he drinks a lot of everything because they're so spoiled with all the fire beer that he gets bored and then starts to delve into the booze and the other stuff. So because it's taken off over there, he had Truly, and he had, I swear he gave us White Claw one time, did he? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So he preferred Truly over White Claw, and I heard other people say that. But he'd come and he'd give me just like a little bit in a glass, or just a tiny bit. So I'm like, oh, we got beer to drink tonight, bro. Like, cool, I'll try it, but I'm not that interested. So I remember being like pleasantly surprised in that, oh, it's like flavored sparkling water essentially, and you absolutely cannot taste the booze, which is the best part for me personally. I don't like it when you can taste the liquor too much. So that's my limited experience.
That's the important part, right? And that's the thing that from the beginning, when we were doing our first trials in the development of this, it was like, oh, you can't taste the booze. Like, like like when you compare it to a vodka soda, right?
Yeah,
which is really big.
Great comparison. Or like a gin and soda, or some sort of like white liquor and a soda that you have to kind of put a lime in it, or you can taste it. And even then, you still.
That's it, right? And like even the pre-mixed vodka sodas, right? So the Ontario market, like RTDs. So like what led us here to the RTD and to Bangarang was us looking at what's happened down in the States, saying, there's been an incredible, like Ontario alone has been like 42%. It's something like a 400%. It's a really high amount of seltzer growth. Okay. And what it's doing is it's eating beer's lunch down there, right? Like the beer drinkers are moving over to seltzer.
Right.
The college frat guys who used to crush, like at 24 or Bud Light or whatever, are now jumping over and drinking White Claw, or they're at least substituting it in. And the people who are drinking a craft beer are likely to do the same. So it was like, well, this is what they're doing. So we were getting ready to be able to just produce it here.
For the client specifically.
So we invested in the technology to make a really good base alcohol. Because really, so you know the difference? So like,
no, I was going to ask. I don't know, Jack, can you explain?
Yeah,
like how it's made, what it's got. I mean, not super tech, but like just a high level, like what's in it in comparison to beer or cider or something like that. I love
Bangarang. So we're like you'll see flavored alcoholic beverage or alcoholic malt beverage.
Yes,
is what we have. What we have to call it. We call it it's a hard seltzer, but it has a malt base. What you might say, so it's malt based alcohol. So what we do is we have, instead of distilling, which you take corn or wheat or whatever the cheapest sugar is at the time. You convert all the sugar, you could convert all the starch to sugar, ferment that out. Then you have your base, and then you go and distill it to get your alcohol, and you get like 95% ethanol, and then you use that
and bring it
to inject back in water with flavoring.
Gotcha.
Right, and that's why it's such a like straight cut of alcohol. It's like that's your flavor band, and that's what hits your mouth. Like that gives you that like
the burn.
This is the burn. Whether you want to call it alcoholic burn or that hotness
at
the back of your throat, it's that it's the alcohol. Now, our method is really more similar to what White Claw and Truly would do down in the U.S. And it's a fermented base. So we take malt extract, sugar, and we ferment that out, and then we purify that alcohol after fermentation. So the alcohol gets pulled out through a proprietary method.
Right.
It's not proprietary if you just go on the internet and read a little bit. But it's but managing the fermentation, managing the yeast, managing that process of how to really make the base what you need to, and then you kind of work the magic downstream from that to really get it to a level that's not that pure alcohol. It's got a little bit of other flavors in there, but the little bit of other flavors, which you could maybe call wine-like flavors, are kind of take away that hotness, right? So it's not entirely
like straight
ethanol,
like,
but it's not dirty, right? Like it's yeah. So, anyways, it gives you not a really great way to. The marketing team will be like, "Did you just say not dirty?"
The beer people understand. The beer people know what you're talking about.
They'll be like, "Oh my god, he's loaded!
He's gonna kill you."
Yeah. No, so where was I talking about
so how you make
that fermentation, right? That fermentation and then purification step gives us a different base to go off of.
May I ask real quick, is that similar when I used to homebrew and you bought the brewer's best, whatever it's called, packs, they came with the LME, like the liquid malt extract. So I imagine it's the same thing as that, where it's like instead of actually using grain, when you get all grain, it's just the liquid malt and then but a shit ton of that with some sugar, and then you purify that bad boy out.
Yeah, you can do it a bunch of different ways. You can use grain if you want to.
Okay.
Because like grain can be, from a sugar source standpoint, it can be cheaper. It's just if you're just looking for sugar, if you're just looking for the alcohol. The other thing too is like it's not it's not a real healthy fermentation for yeast, right? So you got different yeasts that get used that might be better off in those situations.
Okay, so why did you choose liquid over like grain? Generally speaking?
Why would you choose liquid over grain?
For this product.
For ease of use. Oh, I can't disclose any of the ingredients.
No, that's okay.
It says right on it, actually. No, malt extract. Because when you're pouring it in, you just aren't using as much.
So it's probably more cost effective as well.
It's like, so it's just
that makes sense.
A little easier to use.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we get there. That's the
main sort of the base of it, and then essentially you're left with like a what kind of substance that then you can flavor?
Yeah.
Or is it...
So you've then you have your base, right, and then from the base then you add flavoring, right? So I don't know. Was I telling you about Pratt, the guy who was developing the flavors? Did I tell you about that? But was that before, or
that was before? I was off camera. So you can totally talk to you about that, because the flavoring, I guess, has got to be the hardest part, right? To make it taste not.
Oh, for sure, right? Like there's so many different things you can do, and we're not the first people doing this. I think there's 3,000 new seltzer SKUs in the U.S. So the market has grown like insane. So,
what about Canada? What's Canada like?
And they have a lot of craft brewers in it.
Yeah, they got like 8,000 craft breweries in the States, but 3,000 SKUs is wild to me. what's the market like here? I know we're going to go into the flavor and we keep jumping, but I'm just,
well, it's good.
What's it like here?
So, I mean, the market in Ontario is really a vodka soda market when it comes to this type of drink.
Okay.
Right. So it's hard to compare the two, but if I were to say the vodka soda stuff, so like Cottage Springs, White Claw, which is it's sold in the LCBO, so it's a grain neutral spirit, and vodka you must assume because it's in the LCBO, because the LCBO won't sell a product like ours or they don't prefer to take malt-based coolers because
like
they fall into a different tax structure.
That is
I mean that there's potentially there's other reasons for it, but what it would appear is that they don't want to take something that they get less margin for, because they make a more margin on the vodka-based coolers, and that is gaining like 42% a year. So why would we want to take a malt-based cooler when we can take a vodka-based cooler and the same shelf space is going to return that much more?
Do you reckon that they will change that stance as it gets more popular and there's actual money to be made?
Yeah, I really think it's like Ontario Craft Brewers really has to drive that. Like a lobbying body for craft, I think, would be the main way that changes. I don't think the macro lobbying body could influence it, but potentially. I mean, it's an insane amount of revenue. Like the LCBO puts it's the biggest liquor retailer on the planet. On the planet, yeah. It's wow. And they're great people there. They just do they're just managing it like a business. If it was your business, what would you do? Is it and so would the question is, would we do a spirits-based product?
So and it's more okay.
So so what I said is if I put a small amount of spirits in here, I don't have to put a lot, just a small, then it can go over there. And would I do that? And yeah, we would. Because I think that we could do it and maintain the integrity of the product and have the product be similar enough for the customer.
Then, would it still be called a hard seltzer at that point?
Yeah, the seltzer is just a word. It's a word that it's not the what the government cares about is like beer, alcoholic malt beverage. It has to have the required labeling at the bottom. Okay. But seltzer or soda or any of those isn't a regulated descriptor for drinks. It doesn't matter.
Okay. When I first lived in Canada in 2004, I worked at the beer store, and I did not understand how it all worked. And they, at the time, I'm not sure if it's changed, hence this, what I'm saying is that they said that the beer store can only sell malt-based products. Only. That was, I don't know, is that changed, or is that still the same?
No, that's the same, and that's why we're...
Gotcha. Okay, because that's when I saw this. The first thing was this alcoholic malt beverage. The first thing, even 15, 16 years later, was like, oh, it's the beer store product then. But I know at the time also LCBO wasn't really focused on beer to the same, particularly craft beer to the same degree, because the industry probably wasn't worth it. But I would imagine, as you're saying, even if they are making less margin, I wonder if, you're smart enough that you're like, all right, I get it. If I have the spirits in here, it'll get around that. It becomes okay for them. Then the tax works, and boom, I'm in the LCBO. And it probably doesn't change too much for your margin, I would imagine, or whatever. But the other side of it was maybe not everybody can or have the facility to do that. So therefore, they're able to make seltzers, and they can't change it to a spirits-based drink. I wonder if this, over time, I'm sure it'll take a little bit. Canada's always a little behind, but I wonder if over the next year or two, as this grows in popularity and it gets steam, and the LCBO essentially are missing out on the revenue stream, even if the margins aren't the same, it's still a revenue stream. Mm-hmm. I would imagine they might end up caving and being like, oh, whatever, or there's a lobbying body, maybe OCB gets involved, as you said. So I guess there's a bunch of possibilities with this, right?
Yeah, I love your optimism on it. I think it's great. I think I'm going to send that little snippet to the OCD and Scott and say hey, I think there's a real opportunity for breweries that may have another option and be able to give their patrons something else that just variety. That's what it's about. And you can do awesome things with it too, right? Like, I'm really excited to try the guys down at St. Jacobs at Block 13 or Block 3. Sorry,
Block 3. They did one too.
Yeah, so they did a seltzer. Really excited to try. I mean, the guys at Beer Lab are doing the seltzer. I don't know if you've had Nick and Adil on the show.
Beer Lab.
Beer Lab? Oh, you got to talk to. So Adil, I know you probably hate getting recommendations, but
no,
you should talk
to
guys.
I'm always down for that. I don't know everybody. Where are they based?
In London. Have you ever heard of Milosh's in London?
Yes, I've certainly heard of that place.
Okay, so Beer Lab is like Nick and Adil used to work, at Beer Lab, and they started a brewery right beside Milosh's.
Okay.
And they are doing some amazing stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
I'm not as familiar. I know Anderson's out there. I know you guys are out there. Off the top of my head, like, I can't even think of other breweries that are out there in London.
Yeah, so you got Storm State. They're doing some awesome things as well. You got Powerhouse in London. A couple new breweries. Curly Brewing, small guys, and then Dundas and Sons. They get everybody. All the London shout-outs. Toboggan Brewing. They're downtown London. Right. Under used to be essentially a nightclub, a university nightclub, Jim Bob's, and then it's like now it's a brew pub.
That's dope. I haven't been to London in a long time. We do music, and we toured out there twice, and it's always wild. London crowds are always insane. So I was but it was like I rock up, we do the show, then we finish at 2-3, and then you're out of there. So I never got to actually hang out and sort of haven't been back.
So what were you playing? Like what were you doing traveling around?
We do hip hop. We do hip hop music. That's why we moved to Canada, my brother and I. So he's in Toronto, I'm here in Montreal, and we haven't toured for a while. Touring as an up and coming independent artist is kind of rough, but we got on a few bigger tours with other dudes at the time. It's just not worth it. I don't think it's the way to grow an audience in this day and age type of thing. But it was cool. It was good to get to see a bunch of those places, and we got to play shows to crowds that we normally wouldn't because we were on with other dudes. So London was always crazy. They enjoyed us swearing too much, and they always bought a lot of merch. So I really always enjoyed playing London and getting out there. And the bar we played at is called the APK. It's here in
okay.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, it was the Alex P. Keaton.
Oh, that's what it stands for. Okay, I didn't know that.
So it was like a little house down on the corner of...
on just you can see the buildings and stuff. I feel like it's just on the outskirts of downtown, and that was some of the places I had. They had like Great Lakes on tap there and other great beers. So I remember drinking good. I was into beer at the time, but I was pre-podcast, so I didn't get to experience London for the whole glory of the beer scene at the time. But I only have positive thoughts about London. I know I've been trying to keep up on some of them, so I guess most of the breweries I'm not familiar with. Some of them I am that you mentioned, but it's good to know that it's coming up out there. And there's more people doing these things. So as far as the Canadian market, then it's essentially there's no do we have White Claw and all the other big ones here, or that's not really?
That's what I think. So White Claw came in this year to much fanfare. So when they dropped into the LCBO in March, there was the lineups around the corner. The LCBO couldn't keep on the shelves. It was wow. So yeah, it was and I was just I was kind of crossing my fingers, being please don't let them just come in and sell 1,000 hex a week, and then sure enough, boom, 1,000 hex a week, right off the hop, per flavor.
Wow.
I think Pink Whitney was the only thing that was out selling them at the LCBO this summer.
Okay.
So White Claw just came in like a wave, and it did awesome. And they, I haven't drank it much this year because I've been drinking Bangarang all year.
Oh yeah.
So White Claw's huge, and then you have Cottage Springs. So with the iconic beverages guy, you've got Black Fly, which is London-based place. See a lot of people making vodka sodas. Neutral, obviously. So Labatt bought Neutral last year. So they're BC-based one. So a lot of vodka sodas in the LCBO, and then
no other seltzers.
The seltzers in the beer store. It's really this year, right? When we launched, we said we're going to launch it right, and we're going to tell people about it because we think we've got a great product and we want to tell people about it. So it was the seltzer at the beer store. Like, so Bangarang, the seltzer at the beer store. And we decided to launch the product. It was, I say April 13th. And we said, we're going to be in market by June. Actually, it was in market by May long weekend.
Right.
And it was just like, working with a friend here, a buddy who has an agency to help, like, let's create a brand and a label and a brand as fast as we can. And the liquid development had already got to a certain point, but we had to finish that and decide what flavors we were going to finalize with, because we had like 10. So it was 8 weeks and we were essentially in market. And so we launched with the mango first, and then we brought the mix pack out after. But we decided, beer store is our only option, because LCBO, you have to submit almost a year in advance. So the only, channel we had was to go to the TBS. So we went into TBS, which allows us to go into the retail partners program. So the small corner store, convenience retail. So this is the one in Ontario. I don't know if you know. So this year, Ford said he was going to, expand convenience outlets. Okay. But then ran into a bunch of hurdles with the what's called the MFA, or the Master Framework Agreement, which really dictates where beer can get sold in Ontario. Okay. So between the LCBO and TBS. And so they've slowly, through that MFA that ends in 2026, they're allowed to do things like expand beer in grocery stores and also expand the number of convenience outlets. So the convenience outlets are like small foodlands or gas stations that want to sell beer. They can essentially sign up to be a retail partner with the LCBO, but that allows TBS to ship into them. So there's more opportunity now in these LCOs. So, and we had a really interesting product. So we were able to get our product out into a lot of LCOs just by showing up and telling them about it. And things have been going really well. And I don't know. You want to try the Blue Ras?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm going to go grab that. Yes, I was going to ask you, because I'm going to go grab that and also going to run to the washroom. So the other thing, the flavor, we sort of diverted from the flavor. So while I go fetch that, do you want to talk a bit more about the flavor that your head brewer was doing and how he sort of figured out the flavors? Like, you got to 10. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. So,
keep going.
Shout out. It's always funny. Having to repeat the same conversation, because you're like, oh, did we have that while we were on screen? So anyways, so the flavor development was really with in the hands of our head brewer, which was Pratt at the time. And Pratt, he's a beauty. He's a Niagara college grad. He's got his beer judge certificate. Just a really great taster, a great person, a great brewer, and he, he's great into food. So we had the base developed, and now it was a matter of, finding all the natural flavors through the, 150 or 200 or 300 different possibilities. What were we going to come down to in terms of flavor? So, we built up these tastings, and we had, all the staff in the brewery come through and rate them, and then you do it again. And then you finalize the recipe based on which ones you think is good, and you think they're good. They taste pretty good. The people that you give them to, even when they're tasting them flat, seemed like, hey, that's pretty good. And going up through with Labatt, it was, I've tasted quite a bit of beer. I'm not a great taster, but I've tasted a lot in my past. I worked at the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society when I lived in Edinburgh, and it was, a great experience, but it required a lot of whiskey tastings and actually talking about whiskey tastings. I'm not a huge fan of going out and giving those whiskey tasting talks, but I've tasted a lot of things, and I was tasting these seltzers, and I'm like, I drank these.
Right.
This is good. This is but we're gonna do this, right? It's 8 weeks. We're gonna do this, and as we're developing all these flavors, no one on the team knows. Pratt didn't know. Pratt thought we were developing it for someone else.
Oh, he didn't know it was for you guys.
Yeah, he didn't know it was for us, because it was kind of not it was so fast. We hadn't really thought it through in terms of telling the whole team yet.
Right. So it was like, I guess it doesn't really matter as long as he's making fire.
He's into it, and he's like, I mean, that's what we do. Like, we develop, we can develop those recipes for people, and so we're like, let's do this for ourselves, but Pratt didn't know it was for us.
Right.
After. So it was pretty cool, pretty special. This one here is the blue ras. So it's blue raspberry.
So like on the back here, it's saying blueberry and raspberry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave it away. I should have just kept it natural flavors.
Yeah.
Because people are like, I need to find some blue raspberries. Well, I don't know if there is such a thing as a blue raspberry, but
no,
it's just blueberry and raspberry.
Yeah, I thought the blue raspberry, I never really understood what it was. It was just kind of like a candy flavor, really.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it always?
That's what we were trying to like recreate, right? Was that candy flavor?
Yeah.
Cheers, Ben.
Yeah, cheers. So it's got I guess, now I know, if I didn't know it was blueberry and raspberry, I don't know if I would have picked that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I feel like I can smell it unless I'm tricking myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of smells candy-ish.
It's like blue freeze.
Yeah, it's like. Now I feel like it's like just like berry, fruity. Because looking at blue raspberry, I think of candy and lollies, what we call them in Australia. So it's not what I would have expected, because it sort of almost seems like some sort of real sticky candy thing, even though the branding doesn't suggest that at all. But it's much more natural and softer than that, which I like about blueberries. It's a soft fruit. Mm-hmm. And they don't always bring out they're not a flavor forward thing. You always need a supporting role for blueberries. So usually they chuck in blackcurrant or blackberries or something like that. But raspberry is a perfect one for it. Yeah, it's just juicy. It's smooth. Like the flavor goes quick in the nature of the product. So it makes you want to. It's still dry like the other one. It makes you want to sip again. It's not overwhelming. It's not, and that's probably a good thing. I think it's good that it's not like the stickiness, because once again, that's the sugar. That's what gives me the calories. I like this stuff, man. This is really good. I'm really impressed.
And that's the thing about the calories, right? Like, and all that sugar, right? I tried a couple this summer. There's a couple out right now that are a similar flavor profile, and that they're just so sweet. There's so much sugar.
And
like, you
it's a
look
seltzer too?
At the back, like there's 30 grams of sugar, or there's 25 grams. It's like a pop.
Yeah.
See, it's 1 gram of sugar.
Yeah, this is crazy. Are they the ones that you're referring to? Are they also hard seltzers, or are they marketed as a different type of product?
The ones that I'm talking about are once they get marketed as a little different. Those are the sweet ones. Right. Most things that are marketed as hard seltzers, I would say I've seen some up as high as like 4 or 5 grams, but most are below. So a hard seltzer is meant to be that, like just flavored water, right? It's a refreshing flavored water. People drink a lot of bubbly or Montpellier, and it's and the blue raspberry it's nostalgic for me. Like when I first had it just took me back to that blue freezy, and I love it. It's funny with the hard seltzers. I don't know that I have the tasting, but we really haven't went through the like full flavor profile. Like we haven't done that yet,
right.
In terms of and it's amazing listening to you talk about it, because you're just so well spoken about, explaining flavors. I'm very analytical, like slight blueberry, like that's, but it really reminds me of the whiskey tasting I used to do. Like you'd be very analytical about how to describe it, and then you'd be sitting beside whiskey writers who are like, it's like a, it's like a, what was it? It was like a fire on the coast of Isla. Its ashes were, the salt off the sea was blowing across the ashes. And I was like, okay, slight smoky.
Yeah, there's peat in this, like, chill.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. I can't do that. I got friends who can do that. I'm much more, like, basic in it, but it's interesting to look at this from maybe a beer mindset.
No, it's amazing, and it's I love it, and I really appreciate the comments and feedback, and the What's the date on the one that you're drinking? Just out of curiosity.
Of course, this one is the 20th of July.
Okay.
Also a wrap.
Yeah, I've got 18th of August.
Okay, so you got the next batch up.
Yeah.
No, everything. I mean, look, with beer, I guess, because we don't. Do you know what the what do you call them? The not used by, but kind of like the lifespan or something like these in comparison to beer.
Yeah, like so.
I guess
based
it's so new.
on what I can see, it's about. We're saying 6 months, but I think it can go a year.
Yeah. I guess you'll only find out in a few months' time.
We haven't made it, so it's like I know that it's like, so it's pasteurized. So like from a shelf stability, food safety, micro stability, that sort of thing, it's going to be good for 5 years. It's more around oxidation, right? Over time, like with beer, you get oxidation. IPA may be good for, for me, I 3 months is kind of I really
3 months
drinking old IPAs. Three's gonna be pushing it.
I would think 3 to 4 weeks tops. I try for like haze, say New England's and stuff like. Yeah, and sometimes they don't even last that long. Sometimes I've had stuff that's great after 2 months. You're like, what? I thought this was going to be trash, but it's interesting. Then what would be the we all know like in a hoppy IPA the hops are going to drop out, so it's going to taste stickier, maltier. You're not going to get that bright tropical fruit that's typically intended with a modern IPA. With something like this, would it be a similar like the flavor would drop out or something? Like what would be the impact of the oxygen or time?
Yeah, it's just the flavors are going to either mute or slightly alter.
Right.
Think about an oxidized wine, right? So what happens with wine is it oxidizes, it gets slightly papery, and I haven't spent a lot of time describing wine, but it changes. Right? It changes not for the better.
Of course. Yeah.
Beer, lagers get papery. On IPAs turn almost like pruny, like raisiny and pruny, and it just becomes, like you say, that hop dropout that you explain. It's just
it's not pleasant.
It is not.
No.
So I think the effects are going to be much less severe in any event with this over time. But we're just going to be watching it very closely.
Yeah.
So right now, we're getting at 4 to 10, or no, sorry, 5 to 10. So we're at the 6 month mark on our first batch.
Okay.
Tasting along the way, and there is some slight change, but I would say it's just more of a muting than anything. What we've noticed now.
Okay, interesting. That's pretty cool though, and I guess they don't have to be cold stored either.
Yeah. So it's pasteurized. It's forced.
So they're good to go.
I think like anything, fresher is better.
Right?
But it's not going to be like an IPA, and that's one of the other benefits for us.
Yeah, totally. Because that's a problem with a lot of like the IPAs with the LCBO or beer store, where they have to be cold stored even in the store level, and that can be a pain in the ass to manage because some stores will do it, some stores won't. Every time we go back, I'm like, I always check and I judge these bastards. I always they had haze just sitting on shelf. Like I see that all the time. Unless they have the walk-in's great. But if the stores that don't have that walk-in and they have like hazy, if I was that brewery, I would be furious. Like it really upsets me as a consumer because I'm not buying this now. I wanted to, but now I'm not. But this is really cool that this. So as far as like the, I'm not trying to talk about competitors and such, but like I'm just trying to get a picture of the market. So as far as like being that when I told my friends that we were going to be talking, and then I got this stuff and I'm super curious about it, and I got the positive feedback. I imagine that this is one of the larger brands. You've kind of hit the market really hard. You've got a fantastic branding. You've got a good marketing behind the scenes with PR and such like that, which a lot of people don't bother to do. So I was already impressed off the back because that's what the market is for a living. So I was like, I love this immediately. Are there any other brands, whether it's Ontario or beyond, that are sort of at the level that you're doing it, or is it mostly, like you mentioned, someone like Block 3, like Kevin and those dudes, they're doing a fun one, and like, is it going to be craft breweries like, hey, here's our fun seltzer, and we'll never do it again? Or is it like, is there many other brands with this large push, I guess?
Yeah, so, we made the decision, it was in April, and we thought, we knew there would be other brewers who were going to be putting seltzers in the market, because you could just see it happening in the US, right? And as we're like thinking about it, we talked to TBS. We're like, hey, we're thinking of doing this, and they're like, oh, maybe there's going to be other ones coming this summer too. We don't know, kind of thing. Which is great, because creating a category in TBS is something that we're actively trying to do that will be good, I think, for beer in general, and anybody who can get access to a retail channel where you can actually have a little bit of control over, but not a ton. But it's a different access route to get into people's, to talk to people and to let people try your product and be a part of it. So the TBS route for us was a no-brainer, because we couldn't get into LCBO for over a year.
Right. Are you still going to go for that?
We would, for sure. So again, I think we were talking about it a little briefly before, Was that off?
I think it was. At this point, it's kind of blurred in, but I'm pretty sure we got into a bunch of really cool topics beforehand. We didn't go deep so that we can rehash them. But even if we did, go back into it. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's our podcast. Goddamn, we do what we do.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, no. Anyway, so it's that neutral malt piece, right? So it isn't actually a vodka soda. Doesn't give that same level of burn. It gives you that this alcohol that we make. It gives you a nicer softer experience. Mm-hmm.
So could you, if you you did mention before on camera, now I remember what you're talking about. You did say that the vodka is kind of more what they're looking for, but if you didn't change the recipe, is there a way that this would be accepted into the LCBO as is, or is it kind of rolling the dice and wasting time when you know that there's more of a chance if you can add that little splash of vodka or whatever it is in there?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting one, right? And I love the people over at the LCBO. They're the biggest liquor retailer in the world, right? So they have a ton of they have a big mandate for the Ontario government to make money and run it like a business. So and the way they run it like a business is right now the vodka soda market is the RTD market in Ontario is exploding. It's
really
up 42% year over year. RTD size of pie is going like this. Beer is staying like this and shrinking slightly. And craft beer, thankfully, is growing a little bit.
Okay.
Right? So it's like okay for craft, bad for beer in general, and RTD is going crazy. And RTD is all spirits based, and it has a much higher markup, right? Especially when you compare it to the craft brewers, tax rebates. Right. Not rebates, but just different taxation levels.
Right.
So, small brewers under 49,000 hectoliters can achieve some, a better tax rate than the large guys. And then spirits is like another level above that macro brewer level tax. So the vodka sodas make a lot more per square foot. So why would they want to allow a malt-based cooler on the shelf? And potentially malt-based coolers in the past have been not necessarily the greatest tasting. So there's been some, a stigma around malt-based coolers, because, it just doesn't taste that good.
Right.
So because you could really taste the malty alcohol in it.
Well, you kind of diss it all. It literally tastes like blue raspberry flavored water.
Yeah. So and that's what's, it's been a little surreal actually, because it's like, it actually it tastes good. Like we made it in a short amount of time, and it's like, this is really good, Pratt. Yeah. Like
there's so much potential with this. I see now.
Yeah.
And if you said you had close to 300 different options, therefore you've got what could damn near be considered unlimited flavor potential with multiple combinations of all sorts of stuff.
The really cool thing for the craft industry, right, is anybody can make it, right? I think every craft brewer, unless somebody can come up with a reason to complain about it because it's not pure or something, every craft brewer will be making it and selling it in their tap room.
Right.
Because they'd rather sell that than sell a bottle of, flavored sparkling water when, somebody who's in there and wants to try something doesn't want anything that they have on the menu. But why don't you try this cool thing? We made it here, and you can put anything into it. You can put fruit into it. You can put anything. You just make that base, and then you can, it's just a base to make magic with. And that's what I'm really excited about, is tasting and seeing where the market goes with seltzer once craft says, and once craft embraces it. And I think being able to sell it in the LCBO and have access to retail, I think the more craft brewers embrace it, the more craft brewing lobbying bodies like the OCB would say, hey, LCB, why don't you support craft by allowing some malt-based seltzers to be sold.
Right. Okay. So
but as long as it doesn't take away from beer, that's the thing, and that's the big fear I think in the brewing world is like, well, we don't want it to take away from beer, but it's going to anyway. Right. Unfortunately, right? It is in the U.S. It's like it is you can't stop the wave of seltzer. It's like, how can you provide what people are looking for and give them, if they're asking for it, we're not going to stuff it in their face, but give them a really good option to try it out. And that's what we tried to do here. And I think you'll see a lot more, people moving that way and putting different products out, because when it comes down to it, especially in this world right now, you can't tell me one brewer who's trying to, let's figure out how we can, keep the light on. I'll deliver on my way home. I'll, on Saturday morning or whatever. Like, there's all these guys out there looking to help, the bottom line and potentially have another product that you can actually get behind and like figure out what's right for you and your brewery. I think you're going to see a ton of seltzers, coming in.
But you've come out strong with this one. I wanted to ask before I forgot, the name, is it got anything to do with the Skrillex song, or is it like completely some rats?
It's so I mean, it does and it doesn't, right? So when we were coming up with different names, it was like you throw up 500 names, and then this one comes at us, and it's like, as soon as I saw it, it was like, yes, that's our name.
Yeah,
that's it. For me, it was like right back to the Hook 1994 Robin Williams movie, Hook. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
What was it called? Oh, Hook. Yeah, hell yeah.
Hook. And so Bangarang, it's the rally cry of the Lost Boys. Bangarang!
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
It's just like, it was immediately nostalgic for me, going back and take me to like Bangarang, and that, I don't know, whenever I was 11 years old probably when that movie came out, and watched it a lot. I loved it. Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. But so it meant a lot, the word, and then that whole idea of like rally cry and being united. It was like, okay, that's our name. Let's ensure that we can get some labels and get a brand. We really love the color, right? Like, I don't know if you can see like the three colors there. It's like we wanted to have the brand be about color. Like, everything was neutral. It was. I guess I could just hold them up like that. Eh? And I'll throw the lemon lime up there.
Yeah, I'm about to bust one of those out shortly. There we go. Yeah. It's got that kind of.
So it was. Nice could pop something where there was a ton of color, and this came through the whole process of coming up with the different colors, and we said, this is it. This is what Bangarang is. This is what we're going to market in, and we're gonna let people tell us what they think.
Right.
And so far, there's been pretty good response.
Right. Super positive. Good.
We were joking offline, right? We were reading the Untapped review.
Yeah. Some people didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? One person didn't get it. All the rest were positive, to be fair. And that's usually what it is on Untapped. With regard to the flavors, so you've got mango, blue raspberry, and we're about to do a lemon lime. The can you speak to either maybe some fun or funny ones that like you tried out, but you like no, that didn't make it? And can you speak to some other flavors that might come in the future? I imagine maybe not, but just some of what the guide how that went.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about the flavors. Like, we tried really hard on the black cherry to find a black cherry. Because White Claw had a black cherry, and we're like, well, if White Claw has it, like, and people are loving it, let's see if we could make one that's good. And we tried it, and it was like, it's the same compound as that's in almond extract, like marzipan. I don't know if you know marzipan.
Yeah, I definitely do. So it's
benzaldehyde is the compound, and it gives you, so that I could only get almond extracts in that marzipan, like chemically kind of smell, versus like a nice like cherry aroma, with a bunch of different ones we tried. Like, I think we had eight different ones we're messing around with, and it was a tougher one. And we so black cherry was a no. And the blue raspberry was the nostalgic one. And the cool thing that we've found is, like, there's a flavor for everybody.
Yeah. Like,
some people are mango, some are blue ras, some are lemon lime. And lemon lime's probably definitely the odd one out in terms of profile and mouthfeel and everything. I think it is the most different. So I'm excited to taste it and get your feedback on the lemon lime too.
Okay. We could look. I've got a little bit left of this other one, but we could bust that out whenever you want. Say the word. You're the boss.
Cool. Well, tell me before you finish that. Like, tell me more about what's going on. What's going on with you right now? How's are you locked down now in Montreal? Like, are you
They just
put
red alert started yesterday. So we're fortunate that we work from home anyway. We've been doing it for 5 years, so we're good. We're in social media for our main business. So once again, extraordinarily fortunate that this is something that people need right now. So we've actually experienced an increase, I guess, just like a lot of breweries and a lot of in the beer world, most breweries have actually had an increase, which I was kind of surprised about. So we're super lucky, but we're in an area. Have you been to Montreal much?
I lived in Montreal actually for 4 months when I was back in uni.
Where at?
Yeah. I was parked in Sherbrooke in the ghetto.
Right there, dude. We're up the road. Like, I don't want to say it publicly where we are, but we're not too far from there.
Yeah, Root Park. Like, oh man, it was amazing. Bottom floor of a little complex there. Had a great experience in Montreal. It was January to April though, so it was it was cold as fuck.
The least fun.
Yeah, but no, it was awesome. It was back when there's a lot of good places to go. And I'm sure there still is. It's just probably different.
I ain't going there. I'm not going anywhere. Montreal's been the hub of COVID since it began, in Canada and Quebec as well. So, I mean, mostly in Montreal. So, like, Quebec had half of Canada. Montreal had half of Quebec, if not more. So now most of the cases, we're back to 800-900 a day, which is pretty bad. We were down to like 50. And then, boom, everything went crazy. So I imagine it's from the private gatherings and from schools, probably, is my guess. But, so we're locked down. So that's why we've been doing the podcast this way, because I was still telling you off air. So we finished last year and we were kind of just bored with the way we did 159 episodes straight. I barely missed a week. I don't think it all went about 4 years. And we were like kind of just over it in this way because it was just random. It didn't feel connected. And Tiff, like my girlfriend and our producer from the beginning, wanted to make it like, I know you seem like a big podcast guy when you mentioned some stuff before. Are you familiar with like NPR or Gimlet media and stuff like that? So they would have a podcast and they would have a season, and that season would be themed. It would be like like if you look at Gimlet Startup, it would be focused on one business for 10 episodes. So we were like, let's come up with themes and then do themed podcasts. So we had the first one was called Against the Grain, and we made it like Quebec breweries doing stuff that the other breweries weren't. So here, New England IPAs and all the trends, nobody was doing that stuff, and so we were like, and that's my thing. So we were going to Toronto all the time. My girlfriend's from Toronto. My brother lives there. I lived there years ago. So like more of our connections are there than here, but we chose to live here. So we go back all the time, and I would always get stuff from there. And I come back here, and they just never had anything I wanted to drink. And then over the last maybe year, Quebec has gone It's insane here now. Everything you need, it's fire. It's amazing. I'm so proud of these people, the guys here. So we decided to do that season. So we got 4 of the 6 episodes done, and we had the last 2 episodes of that season booked the week that lockdown started in March, and they both canceled on us. It's like, oh man, come on, like, I'm like, fuck, all right. So then we were like, what the fuck did we do? Because the second season, and Patty from Overhub just commented right now, we did 1 episode with them for building the brewery. We were supposed to go there once a month and follow them as they built their brewery. And we did 1 episode, and then the lockdown came, and we couldn't continue it. So then that one stopped, and we're like, oh man, what do we even do? So we took a couple weeks off and then started the Skype thing. It was just, I was like, well, I can't talk by myself for an hour, so Tiff, will you do it with me? So she's been on a few times, and we just came up with topics, and we're like, well, I got this software that lets people comment live, and lets me bring in the Skype thing. So we're like, all right, so I started just doing it with our friends, our fellow beer media people, and then just as I was talking to other breweries, I was like, yo, you want to be on? All right, cool, let's go. Boom, boom, boom. And we just kept it going. So we've been able to keep everything moving in that way. So
that's great. What about the brewing scene there? Like, so what's going on with the breweries, and with restaurants closed? Are they hurt? Like, is it?
Oh yeah, they hurt. The restaurants just closed as of yesterday.
Yeah.
So the first they had to close again. I think that was redundant if they closed, because I think the problem with all this, man, is that they never really ascertained or determined 100% that you can catch it from touching surfaces. They still never. I've heard yes and no. The thing about that is, I think it's proximity to human beings and the moistness of talking, hence why masks keep us safe, right? So I felt like we're very cautious. Like, we were already kind of germaphobes and shit. So this is like, yes, we're ready to go. Let's go. So and we work from home, so we don't need to be around people. So we're like, all right, whatever. Just normal. It's winter. I'm not going anywhere. Like, cool, let's go. But over time, we started, obviously you have to go to the supermarket and start going to other businesses. I always felt pretty safe. If you wear your mask, they were restricted to, 3 people in the time. It's fine. Yeah. You just do your shit, you get out. Boom, boom. It's easy. And all you gotta do is be smart. And now when they close restaurants again, and whilst you're not gonna find me at a restaurant or a brewery here for the meantime, unfortunately. I'm cool with it. If people want to do that, go for it, because a lot of them have the perspex dividers between tables. The staff, the servers were wearing the masks, the face things, whatever you call them. It didn't seem to be it, but then they didn't. Did they close gyms? Did they close schools? Like, why are you closing restaurants of all things when schools and gyms are probably... I mean, even gyms, I'm sure, are fine, because they restrict them to... You've got this, 5 to 6 p.m., boom, that's your hour. So,
they're already operating at, if they're operating at 50% capacity, they're already every other booth ananyway.
They're fine, exactly.
That's what it's like in Ontario. We haven't shut down restaurants again. I'm really hoping we don't, but who knows what's going to happen? And for the sake of everybody who makes a living in that industry, it's just you hope that's part of it. And I know everyone's just trying to make the best decision they can, but man. To just turn jobs off for that many people.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And look, we were on the other side of it, to be honest, man. We were kind of more like, yeah, man, shut everything down. I'm sick of this shit. This is because I'm more like, if we didn't fuck around from the beginning, we'd be good. Everything would be good, but we did. Look at New Zealand. They killed it. We didn't do that. And then people here in Montreal, as you've been here, you know what's up. Where we're at, we can see the park. We're right next to the mountain. Every single day there's just I'm talking in April, May, when things were wild. They were just out here. They didn't give a shit. We were seeing these little police golf cart things driving around the park, putting out messages from a loudspeaker in French and English, saying, don't move 6 feet away, blah, blah, blah.
Jesus.
Because people were crazy. They have to have that thing. I don't get it. We're maybe more introverts, so I'm okay. I haven't felt any crazy need to get out and do stuff, but I guess a lot of people...
Do you have a yard? Are you in a condo, or do you have a yard space?
No. We've got a balcony, and recently, so Tiffany's cousin Dan moved from England to work for us in June, and last week he moved into the building. So he works with us now, and if he wasn't allowed, technically, according to that new rule they just brought in, when he was living downtown for the first few months, and he moved in the building, last week. So now we're he's literally it's fine for him to be here, because we're in the building and none of us go anywhere except the supermarket. So That's okay. Pardon? We got a bubble. Yeah, very strong bubble. We have one friend that we meet up and do park hangs with, distance park hangs and stuff, and she keeps a small bubble too. We've hardly seen anybody. And a couple weeks ago, we rolled the dice and we went to far Quebec, Gaspésie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was dope. So we did Quebec City for a tourism thing, and we went to 6 different breweries there. We shot a vlog. Quebec City was chill. Now it's messed up. Now it's Montreal and Quebec City that are shut down, and one other place I forget. Because Quebec City have a whole... Apparently their radio is far right, and they're all saying it's not real. So they fucked up, and now they're in a mess, unfortunately. Which one of the brewers at Noctem told her, he was like, dude, it's about to be a problem here. And at the time, it was the first time we'd been to places to drink beer, to drink out of a glass that wasn't from our house. And it was a big step for us, but we felt comfortable. Everything was good. Everyone was wearing masks. Everything was great. I'm like, we can make this work.
Yeah.
People were smart. Then we went to Gaspé. They had 200 cases in the whole region. So we were like, boom, good. Even out there, everyone's wearing masks. They wouldn't let 2 of us go into the room to check into the hotel type of thing. So we felt super safe. Everything was great. And then I'm glad we did it because now it's kind of back to craziness again. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Patty from Overhoppers is commenting. She's saying, Equals, we used to brew there. COVID killed us in Ontario. I didn't know that, man. That's crazy.
Oh, sorry, Patty. That sucks.
It really sucks. She said, I'm pissed AF. I think about what's happening in Montreal because they just opened, and I bet their tap room now, or they have like a tasting room more than a tap room. I bet that's probably closed down.
I loved that beer, the can, everything. Like the group over at Overhop, like fantastic team, fantastic.
Great people.
And yeah, it's hopefully you can get back to Ontario soon. But COVID really does suck.
Yeah, man, it's been good and bad, I guess, in a lot of ways, and I just feel like I don't know, like I'm optimistic about it, but I feel like people, if we only just were like, all right, let's just ride, guys, like, let's not be selfish. I think the problem was everyone was so selfish. If we weren't selfish, we'd be fine because we'd be like, we did our part. We stayed home. We didn't do shit. We, like, when I maybe wanted to, or people were like, yo, come hang out in the park. I'm like, no, man, I'm good. I wouldn't do it. We didn't do it for months. We didn't do it the first park hang probably till August. We were in lockdown since March. Like maybe it was July. Sorry, I lied. It's probably July. But either way, we waited, right, until it was the cases started to decline. And we're in the hot spots, and we have to be extra careful. And our area, too, is also the hot spot. So, like, we're just trying to be sensible and not spread it. I don't want it. Like, I don't know what it's going to do to me. We're all probably going to be fine. But everyone keeps worrying about friends sending me the death rates. I'm like, it's not the death rate, bro. Like, there's people talking about the other problems that come with it. Like, maybe you'll cough damn near forever, or maybe, like, you have something wrong with your body that you don't even know is wrong with you. And it'll mess it up over time. Like,
I think there's, like, a definite reason to not want to get it, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not scared of it, but
what's that reason? And what I love about, your perspective, and I really, really respect, is, like, you're like, I'll do me, and then if whatever other people want to do, that's good, as long as they're not going to affect, me, right?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time,
that's to an extent, right? When it comes to, like, people just making a living, it's not like we're going to be the Tampa Bay. We're not going to go down and have a Stanley Cup, parade with 10,000 people, but we want to open our restaurant and try to feed my family.
Exactly right, man. It's like we don't have anyone the only person who's been in our house at all since February is Dan. And that's the only person. Even then, we made him. He had to when he moved here, he had to quarantine, and we made sure everything was safe. But if you want to go to a restaurant, I get it. Like, it's fine, because I feel like everyone is like, the restaurants wouldn't put their business at risk, right? They're business people. We're business people. I'm with it. It's totally cool. I personally don't want to take that risk, but if other friends do, prior to what just happened, like in the last week or two, I get it. It's cool. Yeah. No problems.
Yeah, the cases are going up. So I'm hoping restaurants in Ontario can find a way to stay open just for the industry.
I think they were. I saw a thing today where they were saying what they were doing is so much lighter than Quebec. So much lighter.
Yeah.
Much more chill. How's it been in London? I guess it's probably been chiller than Toronto and stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah, it has. I think 9 cases or something in the last 24. So it's been going up. Like,
did you say 9 cases?
9 in kind of the London area.
Oh my gosh, we get 900. So all right.
So
good.
It's like, there's 300,000 people in London, so you're like, okay, like it was 2 and 3, now it's 9, so I'm going to start like paying a lot closer attention, tighten up the bubble. I've got kids, so if they've got sniffles,
kids are hard.
Yeah, it's
at school. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, school. It's just they're adjusting. They're they're troopers. My wife's fantastic. She's just all the work. If I'm at the brewery a lot.
I imagine, right? So you've been
with Equals and Bangarang both, and
right.
It's she does a great job, and the kids they're resilient. It's amazing how resilient they are.
Good on you. No, that's great. I know that like people like yourself whose business and whose livelihood depend on being at a physical place, like Patty and Tatiana and her team, they have to be somewhere. So like you've sort of been out here from the beginning, right? You've had to just keep going and just be safe and wash your hands, use sanitizer, and wear a mask and all that stuff.
That's it.
Being intelligent about it from the beginning. So
yeah,
I respect, because I feel like you wouldn't do anything crazy to risk your business, particularly a growing product line that needs attention. You have things you have to do, a place you have to be. Excuse me. So
we ended up putting we had masks, I think, in our facility early April, like well ahead of when it was mandated.
Is it mandated though?
We knew it was gonna. Yeah, it's mandated.
Okay, because someone told me that there's some places in Ontario that you don't have to. No, that was one of the things they introduced today. Was wearing masks in public. I guess that means outside.
Oh, maybe.
Because I feel like even me.
Yeah, it said public spaces. Yeah, I think you might be right. I read, public spaces. I just assumed.
Is it indoor or outdoor? I imagine to be indoor.
Yeah.
But
I thought everything indoor. It was indoor businesses.
Yeah.
So
totally.
maybe just public spaces just means indoor public spaces that isn't a business.
Okay, I mean, look, we have to do that here. We've had to do that for months.
Yeah,
it's fine. People wear
masks. Just put a mask on.
Put the damn mask. At first, I didn't. It was annoying. Like, look, I don't want to wear the mask. None of us do, but you just show up and do it. But if I'm going to do my laundry or go check the mail, I have to wear the mask to go in the elevator, and you're only allowed 2 people at a time. Sometimes there's like idiots I've noticed with no mask, or the people who wear it, and it's kind of like just covering here, their nose is out, their mouth is out. I'm like, I got a neighbor who does. I see him all the time, and I'm like, and he lets. You're not supposed to go in the elevator with other people. I know. I was like, oh fuck. He just comes in. He's like, hey, what's up, guys?
Does he watch the podcast? Does he know you're talking about?
He does. He knows about us. I don't know if he watches it though. Shouts to you, bro. You know who you are. But I don't know. I feel like some people just don't care. The building manager doesn't wear her mask at all. I've never seen her in one. Like, I feel like there's just people that just don't take it serious enough, and I feel like that's There's.
I was at lunch the other day, and it was beers after work with some old colleagues, and one of the guys I was with went and like told the business owner, he's like, "Hey, where's your mask?" And I thought he knew him, and he was just giving him the gears. And then after, he was like, "Oh no, I didn't know the guy. I just knew he was the owner."
Right.
You just went and told the owner of the bar to put his mask on. He's like, yeah, "I did." I was like, "Geez, that's bold, man." But I mean, it's just like if people just take care of each other. That's the big thing. Like
that's what it is, man.
Don't be selfish. Just take care of each other.
100%.
Order takeout when you can.
Support the restaurants.
Tip your servers well.
100%.
Just try to help out where you can when you see someone, because there's gonna be a lot of people who's struggling. Like,
I couldn't agree more.
We launched Bangarang because I didn't want to have to lay people off, right? Like, if we were looking at the potential of not having customers with COVID hitting really hard, and all of our customers were having trouble, we said let's launch this product, and that's what we did. So lemon lime is the next one up.
Lemon lime. Sorry for taking my time there.
It's all good.
It's just so funny. I just feel like I'm drinking carbonated water, and I'm like getting slowly drunk. I'm like, what the fuck? I bet there's probably a little to no hangover over this because there's hardly any sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
They're all exactly the same.
Surprised.
I love that you kept them the same. 140 calories, 1 gram of sugar in each thing.
It's because it's like the real difference is the flavoring.
Okay.
I imagine you could go different with sugar level to get different flavors.
Because I would imagine sometimes the flavors might not have the same, like whatever you use for flavoring might not have the same makeup of like chemical makeup as far as like sugar and sodium and all that stuff that has to be put on the
from a total volume standpoint, in terms of the percentage, it's so low because it's so concentrated, the flavoring that's used. So it's not enough to really tip the scales on the calories.
Okay, so this one, the lemon lime, nose. I feel like there's a citrus, like a bright citrus kind of burst initially. There's another, like I can't identify it, like a background flavor. You did say this was a different one, right?
Yeah. Do you get the a little bit of lime, a little bit of lime peel, like a little bit of the rind?
Yes, definitely. There's something else in there though. It's like it's almost like it's not malt, but it's some other like flavor. And you said the mouthfeel's a bit different?
Yeah, this one's just a little more tart.
Oh, that's much more different. Okay. It's almost like the lemon lime comes at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something else in the beginning that I can't put my finger on. It's a little more viscous, I guess, which isn't really like an accurate term for water, but like it feels like thicker or creamier. Is that accurate?
Yeah, like a little more mouth coating.
Yeah, mouth coating. Okay, so it's subtle. I feel like
cream sounds a lot better than mouth coating, but yeah.
Yeah, there's something. You're definitely right. It's almost like it's slightly different. The lemon lime it's lime forward, which I think is good, and lemon's the backbone because lime is usually a stronger. Sorry, lime isn't as strong as lemon, I would say.
Mm-hmm. What date do you got there?
This one is 26th of June.
Okay.
So that would be what, 3 months old.
Yeah.
So I wondered, did you notice?
Yeah, I've got the July.
The July one, so not too much different. It definitely tastes different.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I prefer the other two to this for sure.
See, it's really funny. It's probably the most frequently rated low, but in terms of average number one picks, it's not far down.
Interesting.
So like, it's people love it or they don't love it, and
I don't not like it though. I think I just prefer the others. Like the mango is probably the fave. The blue raspberry is sick because I feel like it's fun and interesting. Lemon lime is just like a classic you can never go wrong with.
Yeah. The lemon lime were. I'm thinking about a tweak, right? Like if there was something different that you could do to that drink,
yeah,
that you think could make it better in terms of how you would describe the experience, aroma, mouthfeel. What would you like? What would you want it to kind of do? Just think about how tart it is or that mouthfeel.
Yeah. I'd say a little more tartness that is associated with lemon and lime and those type of citrus fruits, and a touch more brightness, whatever the hell that means in this sense. Because I felt like the mango and the blue raspberry were bright. Now, this is by far the oldest one. When I say by far, it's probably like 3 to 4 weeks older. And we don't know, none of us know, we don't know shit about what that means for these things.
Right.
So maybe it was different. I can't imagine it would change that much in 3 months, but
no, I think the brightness is a good point. Like as we were looking through the development of lemon lime, you drink a lot of lemon lime flavors.
Yes.
And it is sometimes you just get like a soapiness. And these were ones that we came to. We didn't get the soapiness, but I see what you're saying about that brightness and that pop.
That would be the only thing. Because the effervescence would come through with a brightness, and maybe lemon is brighter than lime, therefore it's lime forward and not as bright by nature. I'm pulling it out of my ass, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just making shit up.
I think we need to just put some lemon rinds in it. We'll just get some lemons in.
I bet if you put like a little squeeze of lemon or something, it might even brighten that up. But at the same token, I almost feel like I could be tripping myself out. No, I'm tripping myself out. I'm looking at it on the table here, and I feel like it's kind of tinged green compared to the other ones. But I think I've got the can sitting next to it.
The can's right behind it.
It's right next to it. I moved it away. It's slightly less green. I think I'm just tripping balls. But no, it's super dope. Patty is actually saying, Patty from Overhop is saying she just bought a seltzer for the first time. It's watermelon cucumber from Glacier Factory in Niagara. And it's pretty good. She loves it.
Nice.
Loving it. Yeah, Patty, we're all new to it, right? And Dan is saying, Dan is right next to me, but he's commenting, he said, drinking these hard seltzers right now, one of the nicest drinks I've ever had. So,
Dan, thanks, man.
You got the love, Dan. So Dan is like, I've been teaching him about beer. He already drank beer, and I'm just been giving him all sorts of different stuff to try and like school him along the way. And when I was telling him what these ones are, I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna like. And he's like, all right, let me try the first one and we'll see, because he doesn't like sparkling water, like plain sparkling water.
Oh, really?
So we're like, all right, and now he's just like, you love them? All of them?
It's amazing.
What's your fave?
Blue raspberry, man.
Blue raspberry? There you go. Blue raspberry. And you drank every one. You crushed it. You're like, I'm not giving that back.
I love it.
I was like, all right, just pour some into a glass so you don't waste it so we can drink it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, he's not giving it back. He's not giving it back.
We launched the mango. We went with the mango in like a bunch of TVS stores. That was the first one, and then we went with the mix pack. So we needed like one, and then we needed to launch with like a single in the beer store, and then we wanted to launch with the mix pack because we knew the mix pack would be like, people love mix packs. I love mix packs. People like mix packs, and I thought we had a good 3 to put in the mix pack. So the mix packs did really well, and the mango did well. But now we've put the blue raspberry in as well on its own as a single, because there's just been a lot of people who really like the blue raspberry. That's my drink.
You can only get this in the mix pack.
The only place you can get lemon lime is in the mix pack or online.
Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really smart. Boom. Oh, look at this. Speaking of that, thank you, sir. That's him right here. Oh, that's the French. So we got the mix pack. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest, when I was explaining to the publicist sort of like how this usually works. I thought you just send one of each, so I was very stoked to see this because I didn't know this really existed. I typically don't purchase products like this, and I thought that this was super cool. So you've got that little like the rip open thing. The branding was great. I started a new workout regime, and I put this inside a cooler and used the cooler as weights because I didn't have weights. Trying to get fit with it. You know what I'm saying? Get fit with Bangarang.
So, weights are going for like, it's like
crazy.
You can't buy weights.
You can't buy weights. So you use coolers, and they're only 140 calories. You drink one afterwards, boom, boom, boom. It's beautiful. But no, I think this is just like really smart, man. Like I'm so impressed because I know jack all about it, and I haven't focused on this sub market of sort of what's coming up in the beer world or alcohol world. That's why I was intrigued, and I was just really impressed. I'm like, all right, so it comes like this is sick, and now I'm actually trying all the products, and I'm like, it's still crafted with that same attention to detail as beer, as any beer would be, and it's gone through rigorous testing and blah blah blah. And then there's also the same like, well, you can't buy this by itself; it's got to come in. I love that, all about that, from the marketing to the approach is phenomenal to me, man. I'm really congrats, bro. Like, it's very cool.
It's been it's been a great ride. I got a great team. So Dave Martin, he spent some time at Labatt, and then he went and worked at Amsterdam for a bit. Then he launched his own brand, New Standard, and then he's been working with us at Equals since November. So he
reached out to us on social media a while ago. I remember New Standard. Okay.
Yeah, so he's really helped us at Equals, and then he's really been running with the Bangarang kind of business, and hired a great sales rep, Paul Squiggy, ex-Molson guy, but he's got a great track record of going out and just like, he's a great guy to be around. He's just one of those sales guys. You don't need to. He doesn't sell anything to you. He just talks to you, and he's just a good guy to have a beer with. And then we've been building out the sales team. We've got a sales force across Ontario, and we're looking at opportunities in other markets as well. In terms of,
I was about to ask, is it
getting it out
national, or what's the sort of plans as far as that?
It's not international yet. I think let's keep it in Ontario, and it's really build out this great team that can really get behind a great liquid. And go and tell people about it, and make it, try to make it mean something. And the business of Equals is continuing on, and Bangarang's just a really small part of it. And we help make people products that they need when they need it, right? And whether it be, great breweries like Overhoff who are trying to get a leg up and establish themselves in a new province and in a new market, or it's a small brewery who wants to keep their capacity so they can give the patrons in their tap room 10 different brands, but they still want to try to expand into the LCBO and TDS, and they don't have any room or don't have the capital to buy new tanks. So we've got customers like that, and we've got customers that are starting and they haven't built their brewery yet, and some customers that are just, great marketers and salespeople, and they have made the decision to specialize in that and keep their overheads low and still have the same passion for their product, but they get us to help them make it, because that's what we do, is we focus on quality and consistency at scale, and then they go and they, tell people about it and make sure that people can, get the beer when they want it, where they want it, and worry about that aspect of the business. So the equal side is still, it's the main business for us, and building Bangarang has been a fantastic experience over the summer, and it's been really exciting.
Yeah,
to see.
Do you have your own beers as well, or is it like strictly like you haven't done your own beers yet?
No, and I think pre-COVID there was no, we didn't want to compete with our customers, right? And COVID hit, and we're like, well, we don't have any customers who are willing to commit to brews. Well, the hard seltzer is the best avenue, because none of our customers have a hard seltzer, right?
So you're not competing directly,
right? And we actually launched hard seltzers for our customers, and that's now a competency that we have to be able to go out and say, hey, if anybody wants to launch a hard seltzer into market in Ontario, we can help you do that. Because we've got a great base, and we can work with you on different flavors that really are going to resonate with you and your brand and your fans, and we can help you get it there. And we've had like 7 different people ask about launching, like, hey, how's Bangarang going? We'd love to launch a malt seltzer. It's like, well, wow. We need the TBS to the category to develop a little bit, to have a ton of competition, because right now it's Neutral, which is owned by Labatt.
Okay.
So they sell a decent amount at the LCBO. They've got a mixed pack. They've got a few singles. Aquarelle, which is owned by Molson. Pure, which is a brand out of BC, and us. Right. And then by next year, I assume there's going to be 20, maybe not 20, but at least it's going to double, and you're going to get more people. It's just, as a retail channel, we're trying to help grow that category so people know. You don't just go to the beer store for a case of blue. You can actually go. They got craft beer there. They have, and then this whole new category of seltzers, right? Where you don't have to go to the LCBO to get that product. You can also go to the beer store. So it's educating the consumer a little bit about, and the people out there. It's like, hey, I didn't go to the beer store very often at all before we launched Bangarang. So we went, because LCBO is close, and my wife drinks wine, and you get wine, you can get good selection of craft beer, pick from the shelf, a little pick and choose. Whereas beer stores sometimes are behind it's behind there, but they've got all the same great product there, because local breweries can put their beers in beer store for free. It's just, you want to. It's not the greatest shopping experience, because you can't see it right in front of your face like at the LCBO.
You have to order it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the digital screens and stuff too. So and that's getting a lot better as well, and they're getting a lot better at telling people about it. So good folks over there at the beer store, and then also the liquor retail stores as well. So the small town liquor convenience stores. We've been able to get into a decent number of those as well. So in terms of the market, it's small. It's going to grow, and as Equals, we want to support the growth too, because we think we've got a good, a good product and a good brand to stay there and help other people along the way as well.
I love it. Patty is asking, can I find Bangarang here in Quebec?
Not yet. I'd love. If anyone wants to give me a call and talk about getting Bangarang into Quebec, it'd be fantastic, because I know there's some issues getting across the border with different production, different licensing,
It's a whole thing,
sort of thing. But the good thing in Quebec, vodka sodas, they're SAQ, but these malt-based beverages could get into all of convenience. And from what I've heard, the seltzer market, or the low sugar seltzer market product like this, hasn't taken off in Quebec the way it has in Ontario.
Not even close. I couldn't even tell you one local one, Patty, if you're still there, if there's anything local, but I would imagine it could get into the specialty beer stores. So my understanding is there's 5,000 different points of sale for craft beer in Quebec. Because all the deps, all the gas stations don't typically sell craft, but there's every sort of the deponeurs can, and most of them tend to. And now but there's also the specialty beer stores. Patty's actually saying, I can contract for you at her new facility. There you go. So it might be worth having a chat just to see what's going on. But I feel like there must be a way for you to do it. I think we're getting a few more. We've got Collective Arts here now. We've got Bench here now. I think they distribute through Transbrew, who are owned by Oshlag and the Glutenberg company. So Glutenberg own Oshlag.
Great guys over there.
You know the dudes, yeah. So that's probably the main way I've seen out of province breweries. Yep. We've got Two Crows from Halifax. We've got Trailway from New Brunswick.
Nice.
In Quebec now. And prior to, I'm talking in the last year, we had nothing but the only one was BAOS. BAOS were maybe 4 years ago or something like that, maybe longer. But before BAOS, literally nothing here except macro beers and Quebec, and then now we're starting to get a few more. So,
but the beers in Quebec, you say in the last little bit, it's just been.
Dude, honestly, I've said this to people. I'll say it publicly too. Quebec is my favorite place for beer in Canada now. But I would never have said that. I was super critical of Quebec because I felt like they were always great with what you were drinking earlier that you showed me, this farmhouse, the barrel-aged stouts, all of that shit. And then all of a sudden, everything it's almost all at once. Now there's half a dozen at least incredible New England breweries that do haze and smoothie sours and dry hop lagers and stuff. All of a sudden, all the things that were missing here, the gap's being filled. Even hazy. Now that Patty has control over hazy, their beer it's phenomenal. So, and the shit that they're pumping out, it's very cool here. And I found it's more eclectic than it ever was. And that's maybe it's more of there wasn't that before and now there is. I'm yo, this is crazy. Whereas Ontario was always top notch. Ontario was always my favorite. And now I feel Quebec has everything that I need, whereas before I had to get it from Ontario because I just couldn't get it here. And it's very nice to see, now that I'm stuck, the one thing we're missing here is online ordering, unfortunately. So that's
still online.
The only place you can order from specialty beer stores if they've set up a website and they're able to do it because they have a grocery license which allows them to ship, but the breweries themselves can't do it. They're not allowed to do that.
That's amazing. Just with COVID, there hasn't been Ontario government was pretty good about relaxing some of the laws to help people out. There's still some goofy ones contract brewers can't ship.
Yes, Shaham was telling me about that.
Some weird retail stuff.
Yeah.
But there's things like allowing restaurants to sell liquor. Did they allow that there in Quebec? So you couldn't go take out and get a bottle of wine?
Not really? Aware of. No, I think sometimes, but I think... Did we ever see that? I think we did see that one time. A takeout restaurant that allows to order a bottle of wine. Yeah. One time, but it's not
It's happening here.
I know it's St. Louis, it is?
Yeah.
But not in the same volume.
Uber was doing
Uber Eats, right?
Yeah, Uber Eats was doing
but I know in, say, Ontario, something St. Louis, the chicken spot, you can order a bottle of Jack Daniels with wings and fries or something that.
Ours is wine.
Ours is wine. I don't think you can get liquor like that or even cans of beer.
Right.
They're not. It's not quite the same. I know BC you can. It's similar to Ontario, but here they're archaic, and everybody here knows that, and it's ridiculous. They're only allowed. I think growlers were only legalized a couple of years ago, and cool ships recently too. So everything is real slow, and I'm just really. I thought COVID. I don't know if you know Brasserie du Bas Canada in Gatineau. they had a beer. I'm not sure. They make they were like the OGs of haze out here, and they made a full can of beer, and the whole can was a letter to the government. Like, there's no artwork. It was just like a letter printed, like basically why they need to let breweries ship beer directly. Patty is saying you can ship beer if it's with food here. So that would come down to if they offer it. We use Uber Eats. I haven't seen beer being available on Uber Eats. So say if you're a brewery and they offer food, you're on Uber Eats or Skip the Dishes or one of those apps, I haven't seen anybody offer anything like that yet. So it's just not the same. Ontario definitely makes it easier, and I find that Quebec definitely makes it a lot harder in that sense. Whereas, like, you guys have got the more tightness on the retail end, whereas we have the specialty beer stores everywhere. If I wanted to open a specialty beer store, I could find a retail space, get a license, and boom, I'm a specialty beer store.
Really?
Yeah, easily. There's a bunch in even our area now, so.
Yeah, cool.
It's definitely changed.
So I'd love to get your contact info after, because my lead brewer Pride, he's gone to Kelowna and then he's doing like a month trip and he's going out to Quebec. So
I'll give him
stop at breweries along the way. So
I'll give him whatever he needs in BC and out here. Yeah, I'm more than happy to even put him in touch with any of the contacts out here and stuff. There's some great shit happening, and I love seeing. There's nothing more I love seeing than the interprovincial collaborations and people like connecting. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing to me. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, you hope the time. It's like it's not the time to always be traveling around, but
I mean, if you can do it safely and you're outside the major cities, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the three, right? So you like
yes.
You like mango a little better than the blue ras?
So only just. It's probably mango, because that's what my friend, like Scott, who was my old co-host, he said that was his fave, and I can see why. I think that's probably, it's just the brightest, most fruit-forward one. The blue raspberry was not what I thought it was, and I liked it more than I thought I would. I thought it would be more candy-y, but it's like super authentic. And the lemon lime is solid. Least favorite because it's the least exciting. Lemon lime is, like you said before, it's everywhere.
It's pedestrian.
Yeah, but not in like oh, it's shit. It's far from that. Yeah. But it's like, these are definitely what I would prefer as far as flavor profile. Yeah. I think.
What would you see next? Like, you say, oh man, you should do a flavor.
Okay, all right. That's a great question. All right. So you mentioned black cherry. You got raspberry. I like mixing of fruits, so I like the idea of lemon lime as far as the blend of fruits, strawberry kiwi, something like that. Some sort of you can add vanilla to these. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think so.
So if you had like orange and vanilla creamsicle type of vibe, I like that, because we did a collab. We did a creamsicle sour collab with L'Espace Public out here, which we've been doing the last couple of years. And that's a sour beer with vanilla, a marmalade, and lactose. So it's like a full creamsicle. But I feel like if you did it in this, obviously you don't need the lactose or anything else. You just have a similar mouthfeel to the lemon lime with vanilla and orange. I feel like, what's another cool flavor combo? Yeah, strawberry kiwi is standing out to me.
I love the creamsicle idea.
Yeah.
I used to crush creamsicles when I was a wee lad.
Yeah.
And
like, they work well.
Railway City, they've got a nice it's called Creamsicle, and they have some orange in that. It's really nice beer too.
I think another good one would be just peach, straight up peach. Anything with blackberry, whether it's straight blackberry raspberry. I like black currant. Black currant's a good mixer for a lot of ones where it could be a nice combo. I'm just trying to picture sour beers and the ones I like.
Have you ever had cucumber water?
I've had cucumber gozes. Do you know what a great combo is? Cucumber lime. Cucumber lime is lit. I love that shit. Some people don't like it at all, but I love cucumber gozes. It just works with the salt. I wonder how it would go in something like this. I feel like if you mixed it with the lime to give it that citrus backbone, it could be pretty good. What else is fire? I'm trying to think of other foods.
So who's McKellar's brother down in New York? Evil Twin, is that it?
Oh yeah. Jeff.
Yeah. So I think he's got some seltzers, and I think his seltzers, he's got some color as well incorporated into it. I don't know how he's achieving the color. If it's like,
food coloring,
I think I saw like a blue and a green and a red one, like pretty wild colors. So it'd be cool if he's achieving those colors using something pretty unique. I know somebody that uses some beet juice to get a really cool, amazing red color out of one of their flagship beers.
I know other brews that do that, like full beet beers, and they're crazy if you're into that stuff. Or you can use it just as coloring. Anything that's kind of like crazy, I feel like it's almost like try to recreate, like peaches and cream just hit me. I know I said peach, but if you add peach and probably then whatever you did to get the mouthfeel and lemon lime with a bit of vanilla or something, make it taste like a pie, like a peaches and cream pie. Something that almost like you said, the nostalgia that comes with like the blue raspberry that you said, which even though I'm not from the same place, and I had a nostalgic reaction to it as well, and like I was like, yeah, that was by far the one I was most excited to try, because I was like, what is this going to taste like? How's this going to go? I feel like there's like you said, there's damn near like unlimited options with this stuff, and I think when people the coolest shit is if you try to recreate something like, it's probably too late now, but say like it's fall pumpkin. Is there a pumpkin spice seltzer? I'm basic as fuck. I love pumpkin spice everything. So if you could do a pumpkin spice seltzer, whatever that would be, that could be lit.
Yeah, I think it's the seasonal aspect of it it's one that's tough, right? Where you're like, how much are you, especially a brand new product, where you're like,
yeah, it's exciting. And if you do one-offs.
So we're really trying to introduce everybody to these 3 flavors, and we're going to have a bunch of flavors lined up to come out after, because I think people want variety. Yeah. For us, it's about how do we balance that with telling people about what we have now, and then it's like boom, another one. It's like see that in the spring where we have more flavors to really complement everything with. Right. maybe even before, but we've got lots in the hopper, and some really interesting ones that could turn out great.
No, it's
will turn out great, based on this.
If this is any indication of the quality of what you're doing, I have no doubt it's sick. And I'm kind of just upset that I can't get him here as much. So it's very cool that you guys are doing some great shit, and it's local, and you're going big, but it's local and it's independent and it's up there, and you're competing with all the other companies that you said that you're up against in the beer store are all essentially macro owned. So you guys are independent, and I want people to know that you guys are, an independent brewery who have crafted this. This is like craft seltzer, really, at the end of the day, with dope branding and a great, it's cool, the story, because you kept everything like you said. I think that's really noble that you're like, yo, I don't want to let anybody go or have to furlough anyone or whatever. Like, this is going to keep the ship running, and I think that's a beautiful thing, man. And well done. I think it's fantastic.
Thanks, and it's really nice to come on here. It's a new experience for me. Just coming on and getting to meet people one-on-one like this, and this to really just tell people about and tell you about what we're doing and what we're all about. It's not fancy, right? And like as we're going through the tasting notes, it's like we taste it for the experience, and we really haven't even went through that like refined tasting. It's really about
high level,
an experience of you get done, you have a heavy beer, and you can go to a seltzer. It's a hot day out, and you want a drink, but you're not looking for something really heavy. You just want something that's more like a carbonated water and a flavored water. This is something that's there that can kind of meet that need, where you don't want to have 200 calories or 220 calories or 12 grams of sugar. You can kind of, like I say, just enjoy one of these. And we'd love to be in Quebec. We think we have a strong product, and we think maybe more and more people will switch to the lower sugar and embrace seltzers in Quebec, or maybe not. But we'd love to get out there. We're hoping to be in New Brunswick in October, so they have some calls. We're going out to Manitoba soon, and Alberta would be another place where we're looking to kind of get a product out into. US, like I said, is like the competition is. If so many people already doing seltzers there, so it's not a real focus for us because it's I think it's pretty full right now.
I feel like if you establish that dominance as the first sort of big independent craft seltzer in Canada, I feel like the world is your oyster at that point. You never know what could happen. Being that, like I said, like this is. If other breweries are doing like little one-offs and little things, I think that's dope. But if you guys are trying to like set the trend, like, no, we're going hard. This is our product. This is independent. I don't know. There's something that speaks to that you're actually helping craft a market, like you said. Like you're opening the doors for other people to be able to jump into it because really that's what it comes down to. For the market to grow, it can't just be you. And that's the beautiful / weird thing about this industry. Is that it depends on the competitors for it to be a thing. So, like, it's kind of cool that you're sort of, like, trailblazing. There's not many things you can trailblaze on these days. There's not many new beer styles since, like, brut IPAs or some shit was probably the last one. And this is something else that's a new thing. And if you're, that's why I was, once again, I didn't know anything local. Maybe I'll look out for it more harder now after experiencing and talking to you. But... Man, there's a lot of possibilities. You never know where it can go. You never know.
Yeah, and we're I mean, we're excited. We think it'll be here to stay in one way or another. We say the retail environment in Ontario is can be challenging, and there's a ton of competition. We just believe if you put good product out there and people like it, they'll find a way to support you. And thankfully, we've found a lot of support so far, and the people are liking it, so we're going to keep making it, and hopefully we can get it in front of them one way or another. So
I love it.
It's been a great experience so far, and it's really been an awesome experience just getting them to know you a little bit as well.
Yeah, great convo. I love it when this happens. You just got a vibe, got a good energy from the jump. It's particularly if I don't know somebody and we're trying to connect over. In the internet, it's not as easy as it would be if we were like in person and hanging out and stuff. But I appreciate
it's awkward all the time.
I'm used to it. Speaking of awkward, we're going to take the thumbnail. I want to do that while we're online because it looks better. So I'm going to hold these bad boys up. I'm going to take a screenshot. Here we go, this way. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go command thingo. Oh, shit. Can you put that in my hand? All right, there you go. Oh, can you spin that, Tiff, so it's like says Bangarang?
Which one?
The green one. The green one. There you go.
Oh, you actually want the...
Yeah, that's fine. Just hold up a can. We're just gonna get the feel. A little bit closer to your face. There you go. Ready? 1, 2.
There you go.
Oh. Did that work? Let me see how pretty that is. Love it. All right. So, Justin, where can everybody find Bangarang online?
Online, hit us up at drinkbangarang.com or shop.drinkbangarang.com. So you can get. I never talked about kegs. You can get kegs of hard seltzer.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you can't drink kegs. You can't get kegs of vodka soda. You can get kegs of hard seltzer. So once those restaurants, I mean, we've had a lot of great support from restaurants, but we can actually sell kegs as well to the public. But we so you can get kegs online if you want to go big.
Love it.
Or you can just order online. You can get our singles of each of the flavors, or you can get the mix pack online as well. We also have some stacks as well too. So we're just getting set up to ship across the province. Right now we're just doing local deliveries in London. And things have been going well online, and then you can get us in your stores in Ontario, and hopefully soon in Quebec, Brunswick, Manitoba, and Calgary. And now One step at a time.
That's it. Canadian domination's coming. I love it. I'm just going to end the podcast. Stick around afterwards, and we'll wrap it up. Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, smash a thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio so you can hear legends like Justin talk about craft beer, but all things on the side of craft beer there. We'll be back every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern until further notice. Check us out, mate. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. Shoot us a review and a rating if you mess with what we're doing. We're trying to keep this content coming, trying to talk to great people and showcase great products and great businesses. So appreciate you guys coming in. Patty, love you, appreciate you. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace. Boom. All right, that was that. Guys, live, you legends. Appreciate y'all. We'll be back next Friday. We'll see y'all then. Ooh.